Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would just do a little book haul of all the books that I've picked up in the past couple of months. So I may have said, oh, I've got far too many books back in December and I don't need any more books. I don't need to buy any books for the whole of 2021 and I don't need anything. That was a lie. Like, I obviously was going to be buying more books. That I was just lulling myself into like this false sense of non-book buying, but it was all a lie. So I have been buying books, and a lot of these from my boyfriend to me. So last year for my birthday, I asked him to pre-order me lots of books. So my birthday's in July, so I said, oh, pre-order me like all the books that are coming out in the next few months as my birthday present. And it worked out really well because it felt like it was a birthday that kept on giving. So I asked for the same for Christmas. So it's now the Christmas that keeps on giving, because I keep getting all my pre-orders coming through that I'm really excited about, and they just appear and I'm like, yay, it's my Christmas that keeps on giving. So that's what quite a few of these are, and I know what they are because I picked all the books. So some of these are pre-orders, and I've got pre-orders that will keep coming for the next few months, and some of them are just books that I really wanted to read. So I could start off with that part and then we'll do the ones that I've just been buying for myself. So the first book that I really wanted him to buy for me, and the one that I was like, I want this book, you have to make the order now because I really want this book. And that's this new hardcover re-release of The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. So I haven't read this yet, and it's a bit extreme going in for the hardback, but I didn't want to buy it for myself because it was a bit expensive and I wanted it gifted to me. I was like, I need this one please. So this I'm very, very excited to read. I feel like I've really hyped it up for myself, so I hope it lives up to my expectations. But everyone seems to love this. I've loved everything that I've read by Brandon Sanderson, so I can't see myself not really enjoying this book. It is absolutely massive. I think I'm gonna have to like put it on a pillow to support it whilst I read it, because it's very heavy and very chunky. It is on my immediate TBR to be read as soon as possible, because I am very, very excited to read it. Oh, I don't really know too much about it, apart from that it's a very, very epic fantasy with multiple POVs in a war-torn world that's got magic. And it's part of the Cosmere, and I'm really excited to see all the crossovers with Cosmere. He also got for me, or I got for me from him, the rest of the Of Blood and Bone series by Gwyn. So I owned the first book. I got that last year from my lovely friend Ina, and I knew that I was going to love it. Spoiler alert, I loved it. So I picked up the second and third book. I am currently just got 100 pages left of this second book. So I'll probably be finishing this today, and then I can dive into this one. And I am loving this series. This is, I guess, like the continuation from The Faithful and the Fallen. So The Faithful and the Fallen, starting off with Malice by Gwyn, is like set in this epic world, and it's very much like good versus evil. You've got like the gods that have their pawns upon the earth, and giants and battles between kingdoms. And then this is the continuation from that. It's set 130 years in the future, and it's sort of seeing how the world has developed since the events at the end of Wrath, which is the fourth book in that series, and seeing what has actually happened and how things have changed. And the characters in these are different. You have some like cameos from The Faithful and the Fallen, but because most of the characters have died, you just sort of see their descendants. But it's so good. It's like, I really liked the characters in this. The Faithful and the Fallen is like a much more wider tale, that you have a lot of POVs. You are really like spread out across the world. And this, it's very much like 4 points of view, that it's limited. Not that it's any less epic, because it really is very epic, but it's like just, you're limited to the POVs and it's action straight from the get-go. Like, I think because the world, you already know the world, you already know like the world building, set up the magic. So there isn't like too much setup for it. It's just straight in, and it's just action straight from the get-go. So if you don't really like action, then you might not like these, but I have been loving this series. I love the new characters. I was anxious because I was like, oh no, my favourite characters from Faithful and Fallen, but actually I love these just as much. So I'm very excited. He got me The Archive of the Forgotten, which I then cancelled this pre-order because I read it on NetGalley. Spoiler alert, I didn't like it. So I cancelled the pre-order, but they sent it anyway. And then when I asked to return it, they were like, just keep it. So this is the second book in the Library of the Unwritten series, and it is set in a magical library in hell. I will go into my full thoughts in my wrap up, but I am very disappointed. I got the third book in the A Curse So Dark and Lonely series, so A Vow So Bold and Deadly, and I really liked the first book. I think is the best book in the series. I've got a few videos where I've talked about this book, so I can link them. I talk about it in my January wrap up, and it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and this is the third book in the series, and I really liked it. It was a solid finale. It wasn't the best in the series. The first book is still my favourite, but I'm happy with the way that this series wrapped up. And then obviously, I pre-ordered A Court of Silver Flames, and then I read it in 48 hours because that's what you do when you get a new Sarah J. Maas book. And you drop everything to read the book. And now I have 2 copies of this because my pre-order didn't come, so I ordered it again because I was impatient, very, very impatient, and I wanted it straight away. And then my pre-order turned up like a couple of days later. So now I have 2 copies. I will return one of them, but this is the 4th book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and you know, I really enjoyed it. I have thoughts. I have lots of thoughts actually, but we will save them. And then those are all the books that I got for me from him. So thank you so much to my lovely boyfriend for getting those books for me. Speaking of other people, my lovely friend Sharon, she has a channel which I will link down below. She sent me Winter's Orbit by Evarina Maxwell, and this came on the best day. I was having an awful day, and Sharon sent me this book, and I honestly thought it was my boring cleaning supplies that I was going to pick up at the concierge. I was like, oh, here's the cleaning supplies that I ordered. How exciting! And then I got there, and I was like, that's a book package. That's not the cleaning supplies. I was like, oh yeah. It really made my day because of how down I was, and getting this and not the cleaning supplies was so much better. This is a sci-fi story. I believe it's heavily focused on a romance between 2 planets, and it's like an arranged marriage, but the first person that he was meant to be married to has been killed off, and now he's marrying someone else. I haven't read that much sci-fi, and I really like romance, so I feel as though this will be like an easy way for me to get into sci-fi because it's not going to be too scientific. And I've heard about this on Brightness Katie Reed's channel. She was talking about it in her favourite books of 2020, so I instantly added it to my wish list, and I guess this was just the top of the wish list, and Sharon was like, that's for Abby, and I was like, oh, thank you, Sharon. So I'm really excited to get this, and the cover is stunning. Yes, I think it's the Illumicrate did a box of this, and the hardcover that they have is absolutely stunning. It's got like nice sprayed edges and everything. So very pretty. And then the last of these I bought myself. So I bought myself all of the Divine Cities trilogy by Robert Jackson Bennett, and I read all of these in January. And I really loved them. I binged the whole series, and I haven't done this for ages. So starting with City of Stairs, which we read for the Shelf Space Book Club, and then City of Blades and City of Miracles. And I just devoured this whole trilogy. I really like Robert Jackson Bennett. I have read his Foundryside trilogy. The 3rd book I'm still waiting on, but I love Foundryside and Shorefall, and so I was very happy to get into this. And I have a full review of this series, so if you want to hear my full thoughts, then that'll be linked. And it was a really interesting one. It was so interesting seeing these characters. You're following, like, each of the books has a different protagonist, and it's set in a world where the gods used to exist and they have been killed off like 60 years in the past, and it's the repercussions of that. And so like the gods had created miracles and the cities were built on miracles, and then you have these island people which didn't have the gods, and so they'd like risen up through like electricity and development, and so they're now ruling over this continent that used to be ruled by the gods. And each book sort of has like a murder mystery type plot line. I really liked it. I really liked the world was really interesting with these divine powers and miracles, and like the interweaving of different genres. Like it's a fantasy, but it has these murder mystery elements, it has horror elements. Like I just loved it. So I was very happy to pick these up, and I really like these UK editions. I think they're much prettier than the US ones, and they've got excellent flop. They're really easy to read, so if that influences your decision on what books you buy, these are very nice, easy to read paperbacks. I have picked up La Part de l'Autre by Emmanuel Schmidt, I am planning to read some more in French, which is my second language, and I haven't been prioritising it enough. So I picked this up. I think I heard about it a while ago on Emily Fox's channel, and this is a alternate history where Hitler was accepted into the art academy. So if you don't know, he applied to go to this art school in Vienna and they rejected him, and then he got into politics and World War II happened. So this is what would happen if he had been accepted into that school and if he became an artist. And I don't know where it like goes from there. I don't know quite where it progresses to. So I will have to see. I suppose if this is a good used copy, I wouldn't really call this like in a good condition, but I won't complain. It's fine. It's fine. I'm intrigued, and I'm very like keen to practice my French a bit more outside of work. And I feel as though the uses that I have with work, I always use the same phrases and the same sayings, that I'm not really like expanding my vocabulary. I'm not really thinking too much. I'm always using the same, just the same phrases. And so it would be good for me to like get out of that like work-based language and think a bit more. So very excited to read this. Now I can't even speak English. I also picked up The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick, and I've been seeing this like everywhere on BookTube. So I first saw it on Angela from Literature Science Alliance channel, and then Jessie at The Bookish Mum talked about it, and both of them have said that they think I'm going to really like this, and so I think I'm going to really like this, and I'm really excited to read it. I'm trying to like hold off reading it because I don't want to start a new series, but I'm getting more and more tempted. I have been in this, I really want to read like ballroom settings, and I think there's ballroom settings in this, and I'm like, I really want to read a book that has like ballroom intrigue and politics, and I know that's in here. So I think this book, you're following a main character who is like a con artist, and she's infiltrating the nobility of this world. There's magic, there's politics, supposedly there's like hints of romance but not too much romance. Yeah, she's just pretending to be someone else. I've heard it's Venetian inspired, and it just sounds so good. And I believe like the second book, this only came out in January, and the second book is already coming out in November, I believe. So hopefully it wouldn't be too long between all the releases, maybe, and then I can read it soon. But it just sounds so good. I really hope this would be 5 stars, and I trust in Angela, I trust in Jessie, so I am very, very excited to get to this. I have bought a couple of self-published books. So I have picked up Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin, and this is a, I think like historical fantasy romance maybe. It's pirate centered. I really like pirate books. I don't know, like I just love that like time period. I had pirates on the high seas, and so I'm very excited to get to this. I actually started it when it arrived. So I ordered this in January, and I wanted to read it like the day it arrived, but then it didn't arrive. Well, it did, but it arrived like hours after I wanted it, and so I'd already started another book, and then time has gone by and I still haven't read it, so failing for me. But I read the first chapter and I really enjoyed the first chapter, so I'm really, really excited to get to this and just see the pirates, and I've only heard good things about it, so hopefully I love this, and you know, good to support some self-published authors. And again, great flop. I don't know what it is with self-published authors, because here's another one with some pretty good flop. This is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen, and this is, I believe it's an arranged marriage, but she's going to kill the person that she's been married to, because I think in this, it's a fantasy romance where there's this like bridge that people need to cross, and his family like own the bridge, and so they like toll it, and her family are against that and want to be able to have control of the bridge potentially, and so she's going to kill him so that her family can take control. This is a duology, I believe, and the second book is already out, which is why I was like, oh, I can buy this and then read the whole duology and it'd be finished. And I also have really liked Danielle L. Jensen's previous works. I read her Stolen Songbird trilogy, and I really, really liked that. Like, I think I read the whole trilogy back to back. I think I started the first book, the Stolen Songbird, like, I don't know, one evening, and I literally just could not stop reading. Just could not stop. Then I did try and read her Dark Shores books, and I read the first one last year, and I wasn't as wowed by it. I was a bit disappointed, like I wanted a bit more from it. So hopefully this has the same vibes as Stolen Songbird, and I believe it does, because I think Dark Shores is more like YA and this is more new adult. Very excited to get to this. So those are all of the books that I have picked up recently, and I'm really excited for all of them. 2021 is like the year of really, really exciting books happening. Like there's so many books coming out that I'm really excited for. There's so many like backlist books that I'm really excited for. So I'm so excited for all of these books. Let me know which books I should read first, which ones should I prioritise. I mean, obviously I'm going to be continuing the Of Blood and Bone series by Gwyn, and Way of Kings is top priority as well. Yay. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!